stood at the front lines of law, leadership, and public service. Attorney Karen Jimeno, sharp, steady, a lawyer, and educator, turns complex issues into clear insight. Attorney Mike Toledo, seasoned, fearless, a strategist and communicator whose voice has shaped public understanding of law and governance. Together, they make the law accessible, connecting principles with real-life questions, confronting the issues that define our nation. This is Abogado.
Good evening. Welcome to Abogado, where we examine how the law protects lives and demands accountability. I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. Recent hazing incidents have once again placed initiation practices under national scrutiny. Despite years of legislation and one of the region's strictest anti-hazing laws, violent initiation rights continue to claim lives. Tonight, we look at whether the law must go further and where real change truly lies. Let's take a closer look.
Recent hazing incidents have once again drawn national attention to organization and fraternity initiation rights. The Philippines already has one of the strictest anti-hazing laws through the Anti-Hazing Act of 2018, which regulates initiation rights and imposes heavy penalties for violence and death. Yet tragedies continue to occur. This raises a difficult question. Is regulation enough, or should initiation rights be banned altogether to eliminate hazing? Supporters say prohibition could prevent abuse. Critics warn it may violate freedom of association and push hazing further underground. Tonight, we ask, should initiation rights be banned to eliminate hazing in the Philippines?
Joining us tonight are two respected figures in the legal profession. First, Attorney Ramon Esguerra, Managing Partner and Chairman of Esguerra and Blanco Law Offices. A veteran litigator, he is widely recognized for his work in criminal law and litigation. He previously served as Undersecretary of the Department of Justice, as well as Acting Chairman of the Board of Pardons and Parole, bringing decades of experience in the criminal justice system. Also with us is Attorney Melencio Mel Santamaria, former Dean of the Far Eastern University Institute of Law and a lecturer at the Philippine Judicial Academy. A respected legal scholar and practicing lawyer, he is widely known for his work in civil law and legal education, and as a legal commentator, helping explain complex legal issues to the public. Attorneys, welcome to Abogado.
Good evening,
It's a pleasure.
Karen.
Good evening.
Good evening, Dean.
Karen. Good evening.
So it's going to be interesting. We have someone who is a member of a fraternity in law school and someone na hindi po sumali sa fraternity.
Hindi.
So to guide our discussion tonight, here is the framework we'll follow.
We begin with the opening statements. Each speaker presents their position in a focused 2-minute statement. Next, we explore 2 subtopics. For each, the guest supporting proposition speaks first, followed by the opposing guest, 2 minutes each. Then comes the open exchange, a 6-minute back and forth where both guests ask, respond, and engage freely. Afterward, closing reflections. Each guest summarizes their key points in 2 minutes. Finally, the hosts step in. In a 6-minute segment, they raise final questions and guide deeper discussion.
Let me begin with the threshold question. Given the continued occurrence of hazing incidents in the Philippines, should initiation rights be banned entirely as a legal solution? Attorney Mon, you have 2 minutes.
Well, under the law, if you read the entirety of it, what is really absolutely prohibited is hazing in initiation rights. Initiation rights per se is not prohibited, but it is regulated. There are certain conditions that must be met to conduct an initiation rights. Hazing used to be part of initiation rights for admission to the organization, fraternity, or sorority for that matter. But under even the old law, RA 8049, as amended by the new law, I think it's RA 11053, the policy of the law is very clear, both in its letter and its spirit. No? There is no hazing. Hazing is absolutely prohibited.
Okay. Thank you so much, Attorney Mon. Attorney Mel, your opening statement.
Well, yung tradition natin dating ritual is the criminal assault ngayon, no? Because basta't sinuntok mo ang tao, sinaktan mo siya, dapat ka managot, no? And therefore, yung sinasabi nating hazing, pwedeng psychological, pwedeng physical. Pero minsan hindi natin talaga ma-prevent kung ano ang mangyayari sa loob ng sa initiation kahit nasabihin pa na walang hazing dyan. Pero nangyayari pa rin. So, maaari sigurong dapat amyendahan natin ang batas natin. Nasabihin na yung initiation, tanggalin na yan, tanggalin na natin yan, at magkaroon na lang ng welcoming introduction na ceremony, no? Wala na yung initiation rites, no? Sapagkat basta't nagkaroon ka ng initiation, ang ating natutuklasan ngayon, hindi pa rin sagot sa hazing. Parating nagkakaroon pa rin ng hazing. Tandaan natin, parating yung sinasabi, yung ritual na yan sa hazing, it's a criminal assault. At sabi ng batas natin, sabi ng ating Korte Suprema, mala prohibita yan. Good faith is not a defense, at saka yung criminal intent is irrelevant. Basta't gawin mo, that's it. Perpetuation of the crime. Kaya baka siguro panahon na para tingnan ulit natin ang ating batas at sabihin natin, kahit na initiation, let's take the safety avenue, no? Tanggalin na lang.
Okay. This is going to be interesting, especially when we get to the subtopics. Kung acceptable ba na tanggalin yan? Considering, I'm sure, Attorney Mon, in your experience, you know how it plays a part culturally doon sa samahan ng mga fraternity brothers or even sorority sisters pag may pinagdaanan kayong initiation rites. But before we go to our subtopics, when we return, we begin with our first subtopic, regulation versus prohibition. Can initiation rites realistically be monitored and regulated by schools and authorities? Stay with us. This is Abogado.
And I actually also saw that the Mazda BT50 that we will be using actually even was customized. It is just very heartwarming for people to actually carefully think about our rescue operations, you know, about giving comfort to the rescues as well. Before I started Potion Project, I was a regular dog lover. I was an average dog lover in the sense that I didn't know that there were more than 15 million stray animals in the Philippines. I didn't know what spaying and neutering was. I wasn't aware that there were so many pounds in the Philippines. And for everyone who's followed Potion Project, then I guess everyone already knows that I started the org because of dogs on death row at the Bacolod City Pound. And they were not even for euthanasia, which is, I guess, already an idea of a lot of people. They were for gunshot. And unfortunately, that is legal in the Philippines. So, you know, it means everything to me because ever since I started this advocacy, we have already saved over 2,000 dogs and cats. We've already rehomed over 1,000. We have built 2 shelters already, and we still currently shelter over 800. But more than that, I guess it's the inspiration it's brought to so many people. Because, you know, the fact remains that we're just but humans. We cannot be everywhere. But we continuously get messages from random people telling us that, you know, they've started rescuing because of Potion Project. They've adopted a stray because they were inspired by the work that we do. I guess it's that, like the sense of fulfillment it brings me, it's just like no other. It's helped me become a better version of myself. And just seeing the rescues every day at our shelters, most especially, given that more than 90% of the rescues at the shelter were from death row. You know, it's hard to put everything into words, but it's really changed my life in a way I can never really explain. It's just very special for me. Even just having to see the Mazda BT50 with the branding of Potion, you know, you've already thought about all of the animals getting wet or like probably peeing and pooping when they're being transported. It's just so thoughtful. You know, these things don't just help the animals, but all of the volunteers who put in so much time and work also to, you know, help the animals in these advocacies. And it really inspires us to continue the work that we do, knowing we have more people thinking about us as well.
Welcome back to Abogado. Tonight we ask, should initiation rites be banned to eliminate hazing in the Philippines? We're still joined by Attorney Ramon Esguerra and former Dean Mel Santamaria. Under the Hazing Act, initiation rites are not automatically illegal. Organizations may conduct them provided they comply with strict requirements such as prior notice to authorities, supervision, and non-violence. But critics argue that hazing often hides behind these rituals. Attorney Mon, does the continued occurrence of hazing suggest that regulation has failed as a legal strategy? In your opinion, can initiation rites realistically be monitored and regulated by schools and authorities?
Karen, I would like to compare this to any act or omission that is punishable by law, either under this revised penal code or under special laws. For instance, murder. Murder really is unlawful. No? It is punishable with reclusion perpetua, just as hazing is, punishable by reclusion perpetua. But despite the law against murder, people commit murder. All right. So it's the same thing to me. Maybe the comparison is not really that accurate. But to me, the way I have observed, because I have taught in so many law schools where there used to be fraternities. Of course, one of them, of course, is our alma mater, is the University of the Philippines. They have actually changed the culture now of the existing members in that they are more into what we call positive and uplifting projects more than being rumble-minded, trouble-minded, just like gangsters. You can compare them to gangsters before. That is no longer the case. And I think the regulations pursuant to the law, the implementing regulations as well of the schools and the institutions concerned have helped regulate, minimize, if not totally eradicate hazing. Mm-hmm. So if you're asking me whether or not we should also prohibit initiation to the extent that they comply with the requirements of the law and there are sanctions for non-compliance, then both on the part of the school and the part of the organization, then I think, remember that this is still freedom of association.
Okay. So para sa inyo po, dapat hindi completely tanggalin ang initiation rights. Because as you mentioned, merong mga iba positive initiation rights yung ginagawa. Like social
That's right.
activities or projects that will have a positive impact on people. Okay. Dean Mel, ano po ang inyong palagay? Would banning initiation rights altogether violate the constitutional protections of freedom of association, particularly for student organizations? As mentioned by Attorney Mon, baka nga ma-violate niya yung freedom of association. Could prohibition simply push hazing further underground rather than eliminate it? Kasi itatago na lang nila yung hazing.
Better be safe than sorry. Kaya mas mabuti na siguro tanggalin muna natin ang hazing. Freedom of association, okay, that's our constitutional right. But may mga unprotected association. If a fraternity or a sorority, for example, engages in hazing, that's a criminal enterprise. So that's not protected. So kaya lang ang problema natin, yung sinasabi mo nga, may mga shadow organizations na maaring magkaroon ng mga eskwelahan, di ba? Kasi siyempre gusto pa nila magkaroon ng fraternity, so hindi nga sila magre-register, pero underground naman. Pero kung meron kang preventive force, or let's say pangitain, or let's say publication, o pinost mo sa iyong classroom, o sa bulletin board, initiation of whatever form shall be against the school rules and shall be meted out the gravest penalty, I think magkakaroon sila ng inhibition. At least matatakot man lamang. Pero kung hindi natin kasi gagawin yon, talagang patuloy ito.
Well, now we're gonna open the floor for an open discussion. And I think dito interesting yung mapag-usapan nga natin, yung point din ni Attorney Mon, kasi sabi niya nga, bawal naman na talaga ang hazing. Ang pwede is initiation rights, which based on recent trends, most of the schools, including our alma mater, University of the Philippines, have started imposing yung mga fraternities, yung mga initiation rights that would have a positive effect on society, like social projects. Pero kung tanggalin yung initiation rights, it doesn't mean na titigil din sila sa hazing. Kasi nga, bawal na hazing, pero yun yung nangyari recently, nung meron na naman tayong bagong casualty from hazing. So, Attorney Mon, what do you think? As someone who has experience with the DOJ and Board of Pardons and Parole, ano ba ang effective way to deal with this issue?
Well, it's, I think, fundamentally cultural and inherited from the old practices, no? Or in the earlier years. And remember that these fraternities may have originated from one original fraternity, and then they will be spawned from that original fraternity another fraternity, and so on and so forth. So, sa madaling salita, nanganganak yung fraternities, etc. Wala namang prohibition. Alright, walang prohibition. Ang because of the experience that we have had, no, the high incidence of casualties before by reason of the hazing included in the initiation rights. That's why the Congress saw wisdom in prohibiting hazing as part of the initiation rights. And if you look at hazing, you know, as broadly defined in the law, everything is almost included. Not only paddling, not only what we call this, beating, anything that will adversely affect the physical and even emotional well-being of the neophyte or the applicant. Kasama yun.
Yeah.
Kasama yun.
Okay. Well, I grew up listening to parents that had different experiences. My father was also in a fraternity sa law school that had hazing. So sabi niya nga, yun masakit talaga, and umuupo daw siya sa kaldero para maano lang yung mga pasa niya, malamigan, because wala daw malaking enough ice for the size of his bruises. Pero yung mother ko naman sa law school, yung sorority niya, ang initiation rights nila was to write a paper na parang thesis that you have to defend. So, very different. So, I guess to that point, Attorney Mel, would that change your mind in terms of your position to ban initiation rights altogether? And is it really realistic to expect schools to monitor kung anong klaseng activities ang ginagawa nila as a group?
Well, number one, realistic bang i-monitor? I will say no. It's not realistic. Kasi kahit anong gawin mo, meron pa rin dyan magiging shadow groups, no, na will engage in hazing. Ang sinasabi ko lang kasi, basta't nawala yung stage na iyan, nawawala yung temptation. At kung nawala ang temptation, mawawala yung posibilidad ng hazing. Maaaring hindi perfect, pero meron kang parang preventive act, no, na-inhibit yung mga tao. Remember dito sa, let's say sa fraternity, kung merong sakitan, even the bystanders, sabi ng ating batas, mere presence is prima facie proof of actual participation. Sapagkat they are not passive participants. Sila ang nagbibigay ng audience, ng legitimacy, ng psychological strength or fortitude dun sa mga nag-haste. Kasi madami sila, nagkakaroon sila ng godlike complex na walang accountability. At kung walang accountability, ang initiation nagiging execution. Kasi hindi mo na sila mapipigil kahit na ano pang gawin mo. Ito yung tinatawag sa sa psychology na de-individualization. No? Nawawala na yung, hindi ka na yung si BS Biology major. Hindi ka na yung si BS Political Science. Brad ka na. So nagiging brad ka na lang at nawawala na yung self-awareness mo, yung self-identity mo. Pumapasok ka ngayon sa group thinking na tinatawag. You decide on the basis of what a group decides. You know? And if a group decides, wala ka na magagawa. At kung nag-decide a group na konti nating ipaddle dito, konti nating ipaddle dyan, who knows, it will escalate. And that is the danger. Yun yung sinasabi ko. Basta godlike mentality ka na walang accountability, yung initiation is the execution. Maaring may mamatay. So we stop that possibility. We nip it in the bud. Ika nga, tanggalin muna ang initiation, and then kung maayos ng sitwasyon, iligay ulit natin.
Okay, but Attorney Mon, will that change the culture of fraternities? I mean, you also came from a fraternity. Baka naiintindihan mo po kung ano yung effect sa fraternity brothers to go through some form of initiation rites. Does that increase the bond? Is that part of the culture?
There is a peculiar characteristic of a fraternity. Whoever is the head of the fraternity or sorority, he or she should control everything. What he or she says goes, and nobody can ever contradict his directive on what has to be done. If, for instance, what normally is a normal initiation rites, that it went beyond that by inflicting physical injuries to the victim. The leader of the group, chancellor, whoever,
or Grand Archon,
whatever you call the leader, can stop it. Because the way we put it, the word of the Lord Chancellor is the law. Is the law within the culture of a fraternity.
So I guess dito po pumapasok yung sinasabi rin ni Attorney Mel na kung kahit bystander ka, let's say the Grand Archon or Chancellor, yung head ng fraternity, ay hindi nag-take part sa actual hazing, kung pinayagan niyang mangyari yon with his knowledge, then he will be held accountable.
Liable. Liable. The law is even clear that officers, incumbent officers, who were not present during the hazing, during the initiation rites, are also liable. Under the law.
So if you're going to accept a position as an officer or head of a fraternity, you better make sure na alam mo lahat ng nangyayari. Otherwise, pwede kang makulong kahit hindi ka nag-take part sa
That's precisely the, you can say, the qualification of how a good leader should be the head, no? To head the fraternity or the sorority for that matter.
Okay. Thank you so much, attorneys. Up next, we turn to institutional accountability. Should schools and organizations bear stronger legal responsibility for hazing committed by their members? You're watching Abogado. Welcome back to Abogado. We now move to our second subtopic, institutional responsibility. The Anti-Hazing Act already imposes obligations on schools to regulate student organizations and oversee initiation activities. But many hazing incidents occur off campus without notice or outside official supervision. Attorney Mon, should schools still be held liable even when hazing occurs outside campus premises? How far should institutional responsibility extend over student organizations?
You know, if the school does not know anything about the event or the activity, how can you hold the school officials responsible? I don't think that is a reason for the school officials or administrators to be held accountable. But what is important now, based on my limited experience teaching in so many law schools, except FEU, is that they are enforcing the ban on joining fraternities. Joining fraternities. So I think Dean Mel has an experience that he can tell us about that, and where eventually initiation, students joining fraternities have actually declined, or actually it's almost nil when the school transferred from what used to be Moraita to where it is now in Makati.
So I suppose that's one way to deal with the issue. Kaya lang parang mas malala yata yun dun sa freedom of association in terms of violating the constitutional right of freedom of association.
It's more a policy of the school. Okay, you either remain as a student here, or you choose to be a member of a fraternity. If you want to be a member of the fraternity, join the fraternity, leave the school.
I suppose because that's a private entity.
Yes.
Oo. Would the same rule apply kung public school?
I think so.
Interesting. Sige, tatanungin ko rin si Dean Mel about it. Dean Mel, would stricter liability encourage stronger preventive measures by schools and organizations? Could expanding institutional liability lead to over-regulation of student groups? At magandang tanong sa ito kasi you used to be a dean of a law school.
I agree with Atty. Esguerra. At mahirap mo talagang strictly hold liable ang eskwelahan. Kasi talagang wala naman silang alam. They could only do so much. Iyon yung sinasabi ko, yung present culture of silence kasi. There's a culture of silence, not culture of humanity, culture of silence sa mga fraternity. And you don't even know whether they exist or not. Maybe you have an idea. But ako, for me, when I was dean, for as long as you're not doing something bad in the law school, okay. Pero hindi ko kayo i-recognize ever. In my years of deanship sa FEU, 8 years and around 6 months, I never approved the recognition of a fraternity. As a matter of fact, sa bawat classroom ng FEU classroom noon, may nakapastel. If you join, and this involves hazing, you will be meted out the gravest penalty, expulsion. At nasa bulletin board pa namin yan. So, ang nangyari doon, tapos nilipat ko pa yung law school from Moraita to Makati. And, in all those 8 years, no incidents at all. It was such a peaceful environment. At hindi ko sila naramdaman. And I guess the students also hindi sila masyadong naramdaman. So, medyo talaga bumaba ang perception ko. And so, you could do just so much.
Yeah.
All the time, natatakot ako, baka may mangyari. But ang comfort ko lang sa sarili ko, hindi ko naman ni-recognize. There is absolutely no recognition here. Yung mga dating frat na nagpapare-register, denied. And besides, nag-uusap nga kami ni Atty. Esguerra, nakalagay sa batas natin that a faculty member should be an advisor. No one would want to be an advisor kasi they also will be held liable. Who want to be an advisor sa isang fraternity na may history ng gulo? Kakatakot yan. Baka sila masangkot pa rin.
So
So,
I
that's
think-
also my escape eh. Sasabihin ko, nobody, wala eh. Wala kayong advice. Walang gusto maging advisor sa inyo. Denied. Finish.
So hindi. So I suppose pareho kayo ng posisyon na hindi solusyon ang stricter liability to be imposed on schools.
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay. Well, now we have another 6 minutes of open discussion, and I think I want to go back to that question as to whether removing initiation rites would be acceptable culturally in this whole tradition of fraternities. Kasi parang may ganun na talagang tradition eh. From the time I was born and I started understanding fraternities, even hearing it from my dad, it's something that he accepted as a reality, na may hazing talaga. But then, nung nagka-anti-hazing law, parang alam na ng lahat na hindi acceptable ang hazing, pero parang hinahanap pa rin na kailangan may some form of initiation rites to earn your place in the fraternity. So, ano ba, dapat babaguhin ng batas natin forcefully, yung katulad ng proposal ni Dean Mel, na tanggalin na lang initiation rites and eventually, culturally, hindi na siya parang part of the tradition? Or is it something that mawawala naman sa essence ng fraternities?
It's a policy call as far as I'm concerned. Because on the one hand, if you prohibit initiation rights for as long as they follow what the rules or the laws and the rules say, and even the rules and regulations of the school, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's a balance to me, Attorney Karen, because on the one hand, the students have the freedom to actually form their associations and to associate, to be a member thereof. On the other hand, they know the evil that can result from initiation if hazing is made part of it. And that's why what is totally prohibited in the law, okay, you read in its entirety, it's actually hazing. It's only regulation of the initiation rights, but not hazing, which is, as I said earlier, absolutely prohibited.
Well, to go back to initiation rights, Attorney Mel, what about initiation rights na walang physical contact pero maaari pa rin makasakit sa tao? Because I've been hearing from other fraternities as well, apart from hazing, meron namang iba papakainin ka ng sile, yung mga walang physical contact pero it can cause some serious effects even to a healthy person, kung meron pala silang comorbidity or some other condition na, or allergies, imagine. So, ano yung take nyo po sa ganun?
Bawal rin yan, Karen. Yung pinapakain ng sile, pinapakain ng hilaw na mangga, bulok na pagkain, bawal rin yan sa ating batas. Form of hazing lang yan. Ngayon, sinasabi mong tradition. Alam mo, tradition is not a museum piece. Tradition evolves. Informed by shifting social norms, yung discovery in psychological and psychiatric medicine, madaming makaka-apekto sa tradition. Kaya I think, probably it's the start. This law is the start to make that tradition move. Tradition move para makita na ang initiation, hindi kailangan ng hazing, maaring hindi na kailangan ng ang mismong initiation. Alam mo kung paano natin mapapalakas itong batas na to? Sabihin na lang natin, presence is participation without any exception. Why? Because you're either innocent or you're a criminal. Basta't nahandoon ka, you're a bystander. You reinforce the power, yung lakas ng loob ng mga taong nahandoon. Hindi mo na makokontrol yan. So the point is, let's nip it in the bud. Tanggalin ang opportunity, ang occasion for those events to happen. Kasi talaga may nai-stray may namamatay talaga. And basta tinehazing ka, although ang fasad mo malakas na malakas ka, pero kung hinataw ka ng paddle at hataw ng hataw, may sinasabing yung nagre-release ng myoglobin, yung basta't sira ang muscle mo, which is poison to your blood. So kahit ang lakas ng demeanor mo, hindi mo alam, yung blood mo pinopoison ka na. So by the time you collapse, akala ng mga fraternity masters, wala, matutulog lang yan. Pero unti-unti ko nang nilalason ang yung katawan mo. That's it. By the time it's too late na. Mamamatay na siya. So yun ang dapat nating tigilan.
Okay. Well, what would make fraternities and sororities different from just regular student organizations kung wala na yung initiation rites? And I'm speaking from experience because sa law school, I became a member of what we call WIN Law, Women in Law. May nag-recruit din sa aming sorority, but I consulted my friends back then and sabi nila, doon na tayo sa WIN Law, walang initiation doon. Kasi ang balita nga sa amin, pag doon kami sa sorority, may initiation rites, and we didn't know what that would be. So, pag tinanggal to altogether, as Attorney Mel suggested, Attorney Mon, how would then fraternities and sororities be different from just regular student organizations?
Well, it depends on the objectives of the fraternity or sorority or the organization. Remember that hindi lang fraternity at sorority ang covered ng law rito. Any organization, for that matter. Okay? For as long as hazing is part of or indispensable to be a member of the organization, that's actually prohibited under the law and, of course, penalized. And the penalty is not
It's not light. Ano yung penalty ngayon?
Reclusion perpetua. Reclusion perpetua. It is as if, if somebody died, of course, that will be murder. Used to be. Okay. There used to be a case where those who were accused of the crime of murder, which was actually downgraded to homicide, were simply convicted of reckless imprudence resulting to homicide, with the penalty of which is very, very low.
Opo. So, ibang offense yung in the end.
Yeah, eventually.
Offense kasi sa revised penal code, iba yung
But we handled the case,
yeah.
Actually, for my fraternity, where we questioned the constitutionality of that provision mentioned by Dean Mel, that mere presence in the initiation rights is considered actual participation in the hazing, even if you did not participate. That was again questioned. No, it reached the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of that particular provision.
So in that case po, hindi ba pwedeng ma-commute to a different sentence if you are just present? Or in your case, paano yun?
None.
Wala kayo na. So,
that something happened there in the case that we handled. It will be very difficult for us really to defend because of the how the law is worded, no? How it is rendered. Very, very, very strict. But the parties, the parents, the lawyers, and we representing the defense, the accused, talked. And the mother who was representing the victim, through the lawyers, conveyed to us that he knew that his son wanted to join our fraternity. And it is for that reason that we agreed on a plea bargain that was allowed by the court.
That's
although this is a special penal law din, wala dapat plea bargain. Pero the court allowed it. The court allowed it.
Okay,
so after 2 years of incarceration at the National Bilibid Prison, they were freed. Some of them are lawyers now.
Okay. But can you imagine kung if not for that plea bargain, which is an exceptional case, reclusion perpetua talaga yung ipapataw.
Correct.
Thank you, attorneys. We'll take a short break. When we return, closing reflections on the core question: should initiation rites be banned to eliminate hazing in the Philippines? This is Abogado. Welcome back. Tonight we asked a difficult but necessary question. Should the law go further and ban initiation rites altogether? Or should the focus remain on enforcing existing anti-hazing laws and strengthening accountability? We now ask our guests for their closing reflections. Attorney Mon, your final thoughts.
Well, as I have repeatedly stated earlier, I'm not in favor of actually prohibiting initiation rites. But I am for really the absolute prohibition on hazing. Because initiation rites can really be structured in such a way that there will be no physical contact whatsoever that will result to some injury or harm to the neophyte or to the applicant. No? That can be done. As you were saying, it can be done through other means, maybe a writing competition to become a member, who is the best writer and who is the most qualified, therefore, to be a member of the sorority or the fraternity or the organization.
Magandang suggestion po yan, Attorney Mon. Or parang physical contest, parang Olympics. But maraming pwede, no?
Sa sorority, pwede pagandahan na lang.
Oo nga. Okay, but thank you, Attorney Mon. Attorney Mel, your closing reflections.
Well, para sa akin, because of what's happening today, that there are deaths occurring, let's not make the law reactive. It must be proactive. Bakit reactive? Because now ang worth niya is to give justice to the dead. Patay na, not protecting the living. Di ba? Dapat ganun ang ating perspective, protecting the living. And paano natin magagawa yan? Well, it's either you're a criminal or not. Then that will make the law very, very strong. May inhibitory suggestion na yung batas, hindi ko gagawin to. Kaya siguro for the time being, tanggalin muna natin yan. Tignan muna natin ang what's happening around us. Para, sabi ko nga, it's better be safe than sorry sa mga ganitong occasion. Kasi kung namatay ang isang tao, hindi mo na matatanggal ang anguish ng mga magulang dyan. Kahit na yung fraternity nagbago, may mga philanthropic activities sila. But paano yung namatay? Di ba? It is not compensatory. It's just that we have to prevent the occasion for it happening. Muna, in the meantime, para sa akin.
Pero I'm just curious dun sa in the meantime. So willing po kayo eventually ibalik ang initiation rites?
Oh yes, kasi para sa akin, tradition evolves. It's not located in a constitutional amber. Hindi yan fixated, hindi yan fossil. Talagang lumalago yan.
So eventually siguro kung nakalimutan or nawala na sa sistema ng Philippine fraternity culture ang hazing.
Yes.
Pwede nang ibalik.
Pwede. Bakit hindi? Pero for the time being, let's be cautious. Let's be cautious kasi yung anguish ng mga pamilyang yan, you cannot compensate that for anything. Talagang hanggang mamamatay na sila. Gusto na nilang makita yung anak nilang namatay sa heaven, di ba? So you just have to answer that kind of anguish.
Proactive.
Yes.
Well, Attorney Mon, before we end this program, I have one last question. Because for Attorney Mel, I think I know what you would want to change in our anti-hazing law or our law relating to fraternities, which would be to remove initiation rites altogether for now. But Attorney Mon, since you're in favor of keeping initiation rites, what would be something that you would want to see change in our anti-hazing law? Yung penalties po ba, palagay nyo, kailangan i-revise for those that are merely present in the incident?
No.
Ganun pa rin? Reclusion perpetua pa din?
Yes.
You don't think that's too harsh based on the experience you had?
Well, the law is very clear. And then, as I said, I would like to assume that the Congress consider the balance between prohibiting initiation altogether or just hazing in an initiation right, and imposed what they believe will be the appropriate penalty, if, especially if somebody dies by reason of the hazing during an initiation right. Let's not forget one fact, by the way. The victim here is a willing victim. He consented, to being hazed or initiated, to be part of the initiation. Not that I'm justifying that he should really be harmed, hurt, inflicted with injuries. But what I am trying to emphasize is that consent was given, although under the law. Consent given by the victim is no defense.
Pagka po ba officer ka, you said liable din, di ba? Is it the same penalty?
Yes, apparently.
Kahit na pagka hindi ka pumayag doon sa hazing and then your fraternity brothers still did it anyway despite your opposition.
There is no distinction in the law. It
very
says,
harsh pala.
look, the incumbent officers of the fraternity, sorority, organization concerned shall be jointly liable with those members who actually participated in the hazing.
Okay, so very harsh pala ang penalty talaga. Kaya siguro kailangan talagang iwasan na tong hazing completely. Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Ramon Esguerra and former Dean Mel Santamaria, for sharing your insights tonight.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
The law can punish wrongdoing, but prevention requires something deeper: responsibility, leadership, and the courage to change traditions that place lives at risk. Because ultimately, the measure of justice is not only how we punish tragedy, but how we prevent it. This is Abogado. Good night.